I get this question a lot. There are so many people out there saying that paying off your mortgage has to be your number one priority, and that going into retirement with a mortgage isn't a good thing. This is something a lot of families worry about, and I just recently received the question, Tiago, I'm concerned that our mortgage payments are going to affect our retirement lifestyle. We want to be able to spend more in early retirement on things like travel and helping fund our grandkids' college funds, but we're worried that we might be stretching our money too thin if we also have a mortgage payment while doing this extra spending. It makes us feel like we need to push off our goals and work longer to be able to support our family and our objectives. Is it really true that a mortgage is a retirement killer? Folks, I can tell you that many of our clients have had the same question presented to us time and time again. There are many different things that can cause a retirement plan to fail or change the trajectory of your plan, and debt and liabilities like a mortgage can certainly be one of them. But as with most things in financial planning, the answer is going to depend on a variety of factors. I can tell you that for some of our clients, paying off their mortgage prior to retirement or even early retirement gave them a lot of flexibility for them to be able to do other things. At the same time, we also have clients for whom doing the same thing, paying off their mortgage, meant that they weren't able to accomplish everything else that they wanted in retirement. So I'm going to go through a real financial plan example with you that shows both what it's like keeping the mortgage or paying it off so that you can see how it might have a long-term impact on somebody's goals. And let me start by saying that our approach to retirement planning, or really anything regarding financial planning, is that we want to be well educated in the matter and take a research-based approach to making any decisions, not one based off of feelings or what generalized advice has to say. For example, penicillin is a very common and effective antibiotic used for many different things. At the same time, there are hundreds of millions of people worldwide that are negatively impacted by penicillin, so obviously, for them, using it would be a terrible idea. And many financial planning concepts here are similar. What's good for one person may not necessarily be good for someone else. So we always want to look at an individual circumstance to see what the best approach is for them. All right, so why would someone want to pay off their mortgage in the first place? You've had it for a number of years. Why pay it off now in early retirement? If you're not familiar with it, the idea is that as you retire, your salary goes away, and only a portion of it is going to be replaced by your first pension as a federal employee. Some people may be old enough for Social Security, although many people are waiting until full retirement age to actually claim it. So usually for most feds that are working with us, that is several years after they've retired. So to help deal with the fact that there's less income coming in while their expenses may stay the same or get larger, they think, hey, let's reduce our expenses by getting rid of our mortgage. We'll just pay it off so that we don't have that payment in retirement. But there are some important considerations that are just left out if we stop there. First, not all of your monthly home expense or mortgage is your loan. Your monthly mortgage is made up of 4 different parts: P, I, T, and I. And this stands for principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. And for some people, the taxes and insurance can be as much as 20 or 30%, sometimes even more, of their total mortgage payment. Also, if you have HOA or homeowners association fees, then that can sometimes not be included in your mortgage and is a separate payment. For me personally, I have an HOA fee that I have to pay every month, and I also have an additional municipality fee that goes to the city because of the area that I live in. And neither one of these are a part of my mortgage payment. So what happens if we pay off our mortgage and no longer have that loan? Well, the principal is now $0. There's no more balance. And because you don't have a balance, you also don't have any more interest payments because there's no loan. But what about taxes and insurance? What about your homeowner association fees, or like in my case, the additional municipality fees that I have to pay? Well, what happens is now you are responsible for dealing with taxes and insurance yourself. You're going to get those bills in the mail. And same thing with these additional costs. So you'll find that you don't have no expense on a monthly basis for your home. You just don't have a principal and interest payment, which is the biggest part of your mortgage payment. So the good news is that now your monthly home expense has reduced pretty substantially. You might have gone down from a few thousand to hundreds, which is a pretty big difference and can help when you're no longer earning a salary like in retirement. But is this reduction in monthly home expenses actually helpful to you in the long run? Does having less expenses by no longer having a mortgage actually mean that you have more financial safety in the long run? Let's look at a real retirement plan from our system where we can show you the impact of this. And if you're listening to the podcast, make sure you go to YouTube or our website to see the video example. So here in our system, I've replicated a client's financial position so that we can use it as an example. We have a married couple with a net worth of about $2.5 million, including their home, and in liquid assets, they have about $1.8 million between their TSP, brokerage, 401ks, banks, etc. Their monthly mortgage payment is just under $3,000 a month, and their all-in expenses is about $10,000 a month, which is in line with most families here in the DC metro area. So we can see that overall their plan does look okay in the long run. But again, for our clients, being okay isn't the question. We're trying to solve for getting the most out of their retirement and making the best choices for their family. And here on the left, I have various different changes to their plan that we can model to see the projected impact to their plan in the long run. And this bottom toggle here is where we've programmed this family paying off the mortgage in early retirement. And if I turn this on where they pay off the house, we can see that there's a pretty big negative impact to their financial plan in the long run. By the time they enter late retirement, their assets have been depleted pretty substantially. And by doing this lump sum payment of their mortgage early in retirement, they're projected to have cost themselves almost $750,000 throughout the course of their retirement. That's money that they may need for themselves later in life to take care of their own health or to leave behind for their heirs or maybe charities. And even though it says here in the system there's only 1 year of funding lost, really that's because it's looking for at least $1 in the plan. But the reality is they're in financial jeopardy by the time they enter later retirement. In fact, we have more issues that come up when we look at reports of probabilities of success. We can see that in early retirement, they're still within what I call the green zone, meaning they're probably going to be okay for a number of years. But shortly after, they fall into the yellow zone and eventually into the red zone, which is where probabilities of success are getting lower and lower as time goes on. And our financial modeling system estimates that assets are projected to last really only until their early to mid 80s. And when we look at the overall probability of success of the whole plan, we're just barely over 50% of probability of success. Now, if I were having this conversation with a real client, I'd have some serious concerns about their paying off the mortgage. The large amount of capital that it requires, plus the taxes that they owe on that money, is just too great for them to continue maintaining their lifestyle. The longevity of their plan is impacted. It increases the risk along the way if something else happens, like bad markets or a health event, and it could mean that they wouldn't have enough money to support the rest of their lives. And this is why it's so important that we model these kinds of financial decisions before we take action. We find that a lot of things in retirement, whether paying off a mortgage or traveling more in early retirement, volatile markets, or a long-term care event, these are all things that can redirect the trajectory of even a strong retirement plan. Now, I can also say that we do have families for whom we've done this modeling and paying off their mortgage did indeed make sense. Sometimes the way your financial position is set, or what tax bracket you're in today or projected to be in the future, how you're invested, or various other things. These can all influence whether something like this is a good or bad decision for your family. And this is one of the biggest reasons we want to be careful when we hear about these blanket recommendations about paying off all of your mortgage. Clearly, it's not the right answer for everyone. Now, there's another consideration that we haven't talked about yet. So far, I've been talking about what is the best financial decision for this family to take. But what if having this mortgage in retirement creates so much stress for them? What if it makes them feel guilty actually enjoying their retirement? And it makes them feel like they can't spend more money on things in retirement they love because they feel the sense of responsibility of paying for this mortgage when they don't have a job anymore. Being scared about spending too much is a very real fear that many people have in retirement. In fact, over the years, we found that the closer people get to retirement, the higher their stress levels becomes around this concept. And sometimes they're even more stressed in retirement than when they were working. This is the exact opposite of what we want for our clients. We want them to feel confident in their plan and have peace of mind so that as they phase into their retirement plan, those stress levels are reduced and they get to truly enjoy the best years of their lives. You see, there are two sides to retirement planning. The first side is what you really want to do with your retirement. These are things like traveling, doing things that you like to do and make you happy. Maybe it's a bunch of experiences or helping the grandkids go through school, philanthropy, whatever it is that really gives you the sense of fulfillment in your life. And the other side is what is the strongest financial decision you can make for any circumstance. These are the best financial moves that you can make to increase your wealth. And the reality is that retirement planning, real retirement planning, lives somewhere in the middle. This intersecting area of this Venn diagram are where successful retirees are living. They recognize that the reason they're so happy with retirement is because they blended what makes the most financial sense for them with what truly makes them happy. Sometimes it's not about squeezing the last dollar out of your circumstance. If it were always about the maximum amount of money, then here's your retirement plan. Ready? Invest 100% in stocks, take Social Security at age 70, and never stop working. Obviously, that's a joke, but I think now you're starting to see how you should be thinking about decisions like paying off your home. And folks, look right below the video. If you're not subscribed to our channel yet, then now is your chance. If you do so, you're making sure that you're getting all of the great content we have planned for you in the future. So until next time, stay wise and stay wealthy.